today's discussion, we are talking about contract law. And so, law is crucial to understanding because it impacts most individuals, because most people will make a contract at least once in their lives. This contract is between two individuals, which often includes an offer, an acceptance, consideration, and an agreement. And so I chose to discuss this because I want to better understand the significance of created contracts and the binding agreements that they entail, because there is a binding agreement that is being made between two individuals or two parties. And so everyone, as I said before, at some point in their lives will be making a contract, so it does affect most, if not all people. And so that's kind of why I wanted to better understand why we do this and how it works. And so contract law is important to business law because it provides legal rules and enables businesses to then enter into agreements and form contracts that are then beneficial for their operations, and they are very much necessary and needed to be made in all businesses. And so a few reasons why contract law is important for businesses is that it, once again, creates binding agreements, provides for the parties involved, and supports businesses' operations, among others that are involved as well. So a real-world application that I wanted to discuss is Elon Musk versus Twitter. This is something that we know happened. Elon Musk bought out Twitter, but there was a bit of a situation that had occurred within this contract transaction process, I guess. And so this was a large transaction which occurred when Elon Musk had bought Twitter. And so this was one of the fastest transactions that had happened, which was in between less than a month span from the moment that he offered and then till he bought it out. And so after Twitter had accepted the offer, the exchange was that Elon would then pay $44 billion for ownership of Twitter, which he then later named X. And within the contract, it was stated that he would claim Twitter, which we see is obvious what transaction that is occurring. And after a few months, after some things that Elon Musk had found out about Twitter, he wanted to cancel the transaction. But because of the contract, the binding agreement that was formed, he was unable to do so. And so legally, Musk was then required to complete the transaction, or then we saw that Twitter was actually trying to sue Elon and forcing him to go through the contract. So in this, we see that Elon wanted to back out, but he already signed an agreement, a contract, which he could not back out of then, which then led obviously to him buying out Twitter and purchasing it. And so in this situation, we clearly see the importance of creating a contract. Knowing what the contract says, I think that's also very crucial. You have to know what the contract is saying. That way you know the thing that you are agreeing to. As we could see in this situation, Elon probably knew, but he tried to get out of it, but because of the contract that was formed, he could not. And in this situation, it could have been avoided if Musk knew more information on Twitter's side. So the reason why he wanted to cancel this transaction was some information that he had found out, some things that were a little wonky, right? But he was unable to because that had nothing to do with the contract that was made. And so contracts are created to keep both parties accountable and to then not have a breach of contract. So they're binding agreements that provide structure, clarity, and reliability on both parties. And that is why it is crucial to have contracts, binding agreements with individuals, and understanding what they both say and how it can affect then both of the parties that are involved. And so there are many important aspects that we can learn from contract law and how it affects us daily, personally, in business, in our families, in whatever capacity that may look like. And so the most important lesson it has taught me is being aware of what I'm signing and knowing what it is. And if the individual is unaware of what they're agreeing to, it can then be a messy situation, which we do not want to end up in. And so understanding that contracts are binding agreements is important important for me to then understand in my own personal life, but also within work, business, and other personal matters that would affect me. So when we had to find some scriptures that kind of go alongside this discussion about contract law, two scriptures came to mind. One was Ecclesiastes 5 verses 4 to 5 and Matthew 5:37. That Ecclesiastes verse says this: when you make a vow to God, don't delay fulfilling it, because he does not delight in fools. Fulfill what you vow. Better what you do not vow than what you vow and not fulfill it. So this, I believe, obviously goes towards God. The vow you make to God, you keep that vow. But I think that this also helps us in the vows that we make with people. We are called to keep the vows that we're making with individuals, whether that is business or that is personal, whether that is a contract, or if it is just something conversational you're having with a person. You make a vow and you keep it because that's biblical. And the verse in Matthew 5:37, which I think goes really well as well, is, but let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Anything more than this is from the evil one. So when we are agreeing to something, when we are saying yes to something, let our yes mean yes and our no mean no. There's a reason why contracts are made. There's a reason why there's binding agreements, not just legally, but within people, right? We make agreements with people. We say yes or we say no, and that just shows the power and the authority of our words as well. So Christian values and morals should shape every area of our life. This includes, school, business, work, whatever that looks like. And so in this aspect of business law, it is important to recognize that we can bring in biblical values to do this, even if it seems like maybe you can't bring it in. For example, the two scriptures I shared showed us the importance of our vow in response to things. If we are saying that we're going to do something within business or a contract, we have to be people of our word. Every action and response should be holy and pleasing to God. We should not be conforming to how the world does business law, but how God is calling us to do it. And I believe that's really important in business and every day of our lives. Thank you.